Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Rutledge. If you're a Northmont Kinder student, hi. This week is Unit 8, Week 2, and we're talking about the story of Anna Goes to Washington, D.C. And hopefully in the other video, you just saw me read this story to you. And our theme this week is talking about going to different places and traveling and going somewhere in the United States and how we take trips and we get to see different things. And so today we're going to be doing this page, which is the page in your packet, page 223, that you're going to do as your comprehension activity that goes with our story that we read. So if you haven't read that page yet, you need to read that that story with me or listen to the story with me in the other video. So on that page, they're talking about the main idea or the topic, and then to list 3 details about what you read. So we're going to review the story a little bit without rereading the whole thing. When we retell a story, we kind of just talk about the main things that we remember, the characters, the setting, and what happened in the story. So in our story of Anna Goes to Washington, we have Anna and her sister Sarah and her mom, and they're visiting their tia, their auntie, in Washington, D.C. So their auntie lives there, and they're visiting her, and they're really excited because they're going to go to lots of different places. So yeah, she's went on a big trip. And when they get there, they get to look at a map that's going to show where the places that they're visiting. So they're going to visit all kinds of places around Washington, D.C. And they learn that Washington, D.C. is our nation's capital. It's the capital of the United States. And so then there's a lot of different places they go to. One of the first places they visit is a place called the Mall, the National Mall, where a lot of the buildings and things are that they're going to be visiting are all around the outside part. It's not a mall like when you go to the mall to go shopping. So one of the first historic places they get to go to is the Washington Monument. So put that in your brain and remember that. So they see the Washington Monument that's dedicated to George Washington, our first president. They also visit the Lincoln Memorial, which is dedicated to our 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. And they get to see the White House. That's where the president lives. Then they visit the Capitol building, and they find out that the Capitol building is where Congress makes and writes laws. And then they visit the Supreme Court building, and the Supreme Court gets to make decisions on whether those laws are just according to our Constitution. Another place they visit is the Library of Congress, which holds a copy of pretty much everything that's ever been written, every book and every important document that's ever been written. And then they go to see the statue of Martin Luther King Jr. and his monument. And the last place they get to visit is along with the cherry blossoms. In the springtime, the cherry blossom trees bloom, these beautiful pink flowers, and this whole area that you can walk along has all of these cherry trees that were given to them, to the United States. They were given to one of our presidents, I don't remember which one, by the country of Japan, because in Japan, the cherry trees are very special. So they gave the United States some as a symbol of friendship. Just like when you share something with your friends. So yeah, they got to visit a lot of different places. Now let's see if we can remember what some of those places were. So let's talk a little bit. The main idea or the topic of a story is what that story is basically about. So let's see, who's the main person that we hear a lot about in this story? Did you say Anna? You were right. The title of the story, Anna Goes to Washington, D.C., right? She's the main character. There were other characters, her mom and her Tia and her little sister Sarah, but the main story is about Anna. So we're going to start with Anna. And then, what about Anna? What did she do? What was this story about? Sometimes you can go back and look at the title or think about what the story talked about. What did the story talk about? What place did they go? Yeah, she went to Washington, D.C. So that's the main idea or the topic of the story, is that Anna visited Washington, D.C. Or we'll say visits. Anna visits Washington. That's a really long word. D.C. So she visits Washington, D.C. That's the main idea of this story. That's what the story was about. Who? Anna. What did she do? She visited Washington, D.C. That's the main topic or idea from that story. Then they want 3 details. Well, she visited Washington, D.C. What were some places that she saw while she was there? Let's see, what would one detail be? Where did she go? Sometimes I like to go in the order of the story because it helps me keep track. So at the beginning of the story, where did she visit? What was a place that was kind of in the beginning? Let's see. Oh, I remember. The very first place she went to was the Washington Monument. You can draw a picture of it. Or you can write it. Washington Monument. It's a really hard thing to write. You might need mom or dad's help. You don't have these boxes on your paper, but on your paper, we're going to be taking these details and writing them into sentences. So you can do this on another piece of paper if you want. Or you can just watch me. That's fine. You don't have to write it yet. So she first visited the Washington Monument. And then, let's see, what's another place? Where did she go after that? Let's see. Oh, I remember. She went and saw the big Capitol building, that one with the big dome on the top. Yeah. And I'm going to put a big dome. Just sometimes I like to draw pictures because it kind of helps me. So she went to the Capitol building, right? Where they make the laws and policy and stuff. So first she went to the Washington Monument and she went to the Capitol building. And then towards the end, where else did she go? Let's see, what's another place she went to? Oh, she went to the White House. Yeah. And something I remember about that building is it had all those pillars. Had a lot of fancy pillars out front. So let's go back and think about what we just decided. So it asked for the main idea or the topic of the story. And we said, well, the who and the what. Who is Anna? She's the main character of the story. What did Anna do? Well, she visited Washington, D.C. So on your paper, up at the top, it says topic. So they only give you one line to write on. So you might have to write a little small right underneath there in that blank space. I don't know why they don't give you more space, but they want you to write Anna visits Washington, D.C. that's our topic of our story. That's what our story is about, is Anna visiting Washington, D.C. So you're going to have to squeeze that in. If you want, you can just write on these 2 lines instead of making it one big line. You can make it 2 separate lines if you want to fill that in as best you can. Then down here, it says key details, 1, 2, and 3. And they give you a bunch of lines for that. So the details that you're going to write are, you can write them in a sentence if you want to use a sentence, and you could say, she visited the Washington Monument, or she saw the Washington Monument, or she went to the Washington Monument. So if you want to put it into a sentence, you can write that sentence right there on those 2 lines. If you just want to write the detail or the name of a place, you can just write Washington Monument on the first line for number 1, or whatever place you're thinking of. Then we wrote that she also went to the Capitol building. So if you want to write that, you could just write next to number 2, you're going to write Capitol building. Or if you want to put it into a sentence, Mom and Dad can help you come up with a good sentence. She went to the Capitol building, or you could just say Capitol, same thing. Then another detail, or the 3rd place we thought of, was she went to the White House. So again, down next to number 3, they only give you 1 line to write on. So you can write White House, or she saw the White House, and if you have to squeeze it in or write some extra down here, that's okay. Yeah, I didn't come up with the paper and the format. If it was me, I would have given you better lines to write on. But anyway, so you can choose if you just want to write the name of the place, or if you want to put it into a sentence, you can do that. Now, I chose Washington Monument, the Capitol building, and the White House as my 3 details from the story. But there were a lot of other details. Do you have to include all of them? No, because you only have room for 3. They just want 3 that you can remember. But you might choose other places. Maybe you want to say the Lincoln Memorial. Maybe you want to mention the National Mall. Maybe you want to mention the Supreme Court or the Library of Congress. Or maybe you want to write about that she saw the cherry blossom trees. Any of those things would be details of what she saw and where she went in the story and what she did. You can pick your own 3, or you can use the 3 I have. It's up to you. All right? So now you're ready to work on page 223. Good luck.